how to stop negative momentum when it comes to weight gain, especially during the holiday season. So let's talk about like the 3 things, guys, that you need to do to get the negative momentum to stop. So first thing is you need to resist the urge to over-restrict. So when you're gaining weight and when the events seem to be rolling around and you're struggling to kind of regain your footing with how you're eating and how you're exercising, the first thing you need to do is to resist the urge to over-restrict. So we're talking all about how to stop the negative momentum. Number 1, resist the urge to over-restrict. So I have done this so many times where I've gone to a holiday event and I didn't intend to eat a whole bunch, or I didn't intend to eat a whole bunch of junk, but I did. So, now you feel miserable, right? Because you knew better. You feel miserable because you're bloated and your digestion isn't exactly right. You feel miserable because you feel your clothes getting tight. So what happens sometimes is we have this knee-jerk reaction, right? Where we ate more than we wanted to. And so now all of a sudden, like, we're on a diet, like we're on a super strict diet and it's the middle of the holidays, but like, that's just a reaction, right? We overate and now we have the tendency to respond by over-restricting. So that's number 1. You do not want to do that, because the more you over-restrict, you're basically just encouraging a binge restrict cycle. So what you'll notice is you'll overeat, then you'll over-restrict, and maybe it'll last a few days, and then the next time you'll overeat maybe even worse, and then you'll try and over-restrict, but it won't last as long because you're just setting yourself up for like a binge restrict cycle. So resist the urge to over-restrict. Number 2, stay active and exercise. The reason for that is because not exercising just because like you're overeating is really buying into like the all or none. And that doesn't really work when it comes to weight loss that's going to be significant and sustainable. So even if you had an accidental overindulgence, even if you feel like that freight train is just moving with the holiday eating and weight gain, you still want to go ahead and stay active. First of all, what you're doing is you're not giving in to all or none. So you're keeping a foot in the door, right? That's what you're doing. But the second thing is your activity and your exercise can actually help you with getting rid of not the calories, but like shedding some of that water from the water retention and the bloating from overeating and overindulging in things that are salty and sweet and sugary, okay? So then number 3, the final thing you want to do is you want to absolutely get rid of the bloating between events. So here's what I mean. I have a friend, Anna. I talk about her all the time, but she's my friend from my competitive days. And back in those days when we were fighting this exact battle, we would talk after a vacation and say, oh my gosh, I'm so bloated. I feel horrible. And we would say like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get back on my program before this weight, quote unquote, makes a home on my body, gets settled on my body. So what we meant by that is, you guys, if you like overeat one weekend or at an event, you may step on the scale and it may say you're 5 pounds heavier. Your jeans that fit 2 days before may not fit. But unless you ate just like a humongous amount of calories, it's highly unlikely that is truly like fat gain, right? So true weight. What you have instead is water retention. What you have instead is bloating. So rather than get down and think that you gained like 5 real pounds of fat, which you did not, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and get rid of that bloating in between events. And the reason why you want to do that is because it seems probably counterintuitive, but I promise you that when you feel stuffed into your clothes, when you feel miserable, when you feel disappointed in your behavior, then you're more likely to continue down that same path and to eat that way anyway. When you feel good in your clothes, so when you get rid of the bloat between events, when your party dress fits again for the next event, like you feel more confident, you feel more proud of yourself, you feel more in control. And because you feel more in control, you have the tendency to be more in control and to be better at eating moderately at the next event. So you catch that? So you want to absolutely get rid of that bloating between events. So even though it's not true weight loss, what you are doing is you are preventing like a compound effect. You are preventing the bloating from last weekend turning into true weight gain this weekend, okay? So guys, those are my 3 tips for what you absolutely want to do to stop that negative momentum, to get in front of that freight train. So in summary, that was, you want to, 1, resist the urge to over restrict. Number 2, you want to stay active and exercise. Number 3, you want to get rid of bloating between the events.